So the new press secretary for Joe Biden her name is Jen Psaki. And Jen Psaki is formerly from the State Department. She worked in the State Department for Hillary Clinton first when she was Secretary of State for, I believe it was 4 years, and or maybe it was 6 years. Was it 6 years? I think it was 6 years. She was 6 years. I'm sorry. And then the last 2 years it was John Kerry, and I believe she was there for the entire 8 years that President Obama was president. And so she was there, and then now she's the press secretary for Joe Biden. So I guess she's moving up, and she has a very, I guess you could say, long history, or she has a very notable history pushing for pro-imperialist policies. And you're going to see an example of it here, and then we're going to get into a couple of other examples of things that she said that were stupid. I'll just lay them out for you. I don't have the clips, but I just heard that she said a bunch of other dumb shit. But this is more policy based, and why don't you check this out, and then we will talk about it on the other side.
Last night went on the air and said that they'd arrested multiple people who were allegedly behind a coup that was backed by the United States. What is your response?
These latest accusations, like all previous such accusations, are ludicrous. As a matter of long-standing policy, the United States does not support political transitions by non-constitutional means. Political transitions must be democratic, constitutional, peaceful, and legal. We've seen many times that the Venezuelan government tries to distract from its own actions by blaming the United States or other members of the international community for events inside Venezuela. These efforts reflect a lack of seriousness on the part of the Venezuelan government to deal with the grave situation it faces.
The U.S. has The U.S. has a long-standing practice of not promoting. What did you say? How long-standing is that? I would. In particular, in South and Latin America, that is not a long-standing practice.
Well, my point here, Matt, without getting into history, is that we do not support, we have no involvement with, and these are ludicrous accusations.
In this specific case.
Correct.
But if you go back not that long ago, during your lifetime, even. This is
the
not
last
that
21
long
years.
Well done. Touche. But I mean, look, I don't does long-standing mean 10 years in this case? I mean, what
Matt, my intention was to speak to the specific reports.
But you said it's a long-standing U.S. practice, and I'm not so sure how. It depends on what your definition of long-standing is.
Okay.
Very recently in Kiev, whatever we say about Ukraine, whatever, the change of government in the beginning of last year was unconstitutional. And you supported it. The Constitution was not constitutional.
Okay, so, I mean, Jen Psaki obviously getting very flustered there. She did not know how to respond to that question, like a wonderful press secretary should, as all the liberals are pretending as she is and is being and has been. So, notice she can't give a decent response there for why. So like apparently it's a long-standing, quote, long-standing practice for the United States to not get involved in overthrowing other countries. Are you kidding me? In 1953 alone, the United States, not alone, I'm saying just to use that example by itself, but in 1953. The United States joined with the United Kingdom, with the UK, to overthrow the democratically elected government of Iran, my parents' home country, my ancestors' home country. And they overthrew the government in 1953, and what did they do it for? They did it for oil. Because the president at the time, Mohammad Mossadegh, wanted to nationalize the oil industry in Iran, and he wanted to disperse it out to the Iranian people. What a prick, right? He's a fucking asshole. How can he do that? That's not the right thing to do. That's not the right thing to do. The United States doesn't agree with that. The UK doesn't agree with that. Imperialist countries that want to run everything and want to run shit and tell everybody what to do, they do not agree with that. And what did they do? They went and overthrew that country. The CIA did it. And by the way, this is something they revealed just recently. I think they revealed it in 20, I think it was 13 or 14 under the Obama administration. So after all that time, well, how many years is that? 70 years? Something like that. Yeah, I think 70 years if my math is correct. It took them more than 50 years, almost 3/4 of a century, just to reveal the fact that they illegally overthrew a country because they wanted to steal their oil. So now you would think, like, let's just say if they didn't give a reason as to why they did it, you would think, like, okay, so maybe they were doing it for democratic reasons. They were doing it for reasons as to the upholding democracy as the American whatever, American people, and obviously our government likes to declare that our government is doing all these wonderful things to help other people because we care about humanity so much. And if they wouldn't have given a reason, the idiots in this country, especially the right wingers and everything, they would have just assumed, yeah, okay, it was for good reasons, no problem, not a big deal at all. But it turns out it was for the oil, because they wanted to get their oil. They wanted to get Iran's oil, and they couldn't stand the fact that Iran wasn't bending at their will and wasn't healing at their feet and kissing their feet and kissing their ass. So what did they do? They just overthrew them. They said, all right, fuck it, who cares? We don't give a shit about you. We don't give a shit about the people. We don't give a shit about the democratically elected government, and we're going to overthrow you. Now let's go to the current period of time. Now this, just to be clear, this clip from Jen Psaki giving this press conference was from 2015. Yeah, from March 11th, 2015. So she gave this interview a while back, but still, even to this day, so that's 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, almost to the day, because we're in February something, so it's almost March 11th. It's almost 6 years ago now, and we still have the same exact policy, and it's going to be the same under Joe Biden. It was under the same exact thing under Donald Trump, of overthrowing another democratically elected government. And Jen Psaki going out there grandstanding like, oh, how dare you accuse us of wanting to overthrow this government. You wanted to do that. Who the fuck do you think Juan Guaido is? Juan Guaido is some fucking, honestly, he looks like the Venezuelan version of Pete Buttigieg. He just looks like a nurtured prick, young nurtured prick, brought up, in wealth, and they just wanted to, in a wealthy lifestyle, and they just want to shove him into the government and make him seem like he's some sort of like he's going to bring, democracy and humanity and liberty and everything to the Venezuelan government. Nicolas Maduro was elected by the Venezuelan people. Now you can go out there and you can criticize Maduro and say he hasn't done good things and this and that, and the communist government is terrible. Okay, I don't particularly agree with that, but okay, people can make that case. But that's none of your business. That's not Jen Psaki's business. It's not Joe Biden's business. It's not Donald Trump's business. I don't give a fuck what they have to say about Nicolas Maduro and what they have to say about Mohamed Mossadegh. I don't give a fuck. So if you want to go out there and talk about how you're so virtuous and you're so wonderful and you're so pro-democracy and humanity, and think about it, the Democrats are always talking about how they love democracy. They're, oh my God, democracy! Oh my God, democracy is so wonderful. We need to secure our democratic what is it in this country? Our democratic principles and democratic government. Blah blah. You want to go overthrow everybody. You want to overthrow every single fucking government out there that doesn't follow along with your fucking virtue signaling and your pro-democratic ways, so-called. And that's fine. You can go and criticize the Iranian government. I can criticize the Iranian government. I can criticize the Venezuelan government. Whatever. I mean, but that doesn't that doesn't mean that they're perfect, obviously. But who are we to go out there and say, act as if we're so wonderful and we're so perfect and we're so virtuous and that we can tell other countries how to run their elections and tell them what to do? That's the part that pisses me off. And that's the part that pisses off a lot of people on the left. Because we can't stand when our stupid ass government we can't even get health care to save the lives of millions of people during the fucking pandemic. where 500,000 people have died, by the way. We can't even do something simple as that, where every other industrialized, something that every other industrialized country has been able to do that. We can't do that, yet we want to go and tell people what they should do in their countries when it comes to their governments and to their elections and all that stuff. It's completely ridiculous. So just spare me with your virtuosity and your your moral outrage and shit. So I don't even want to hear it.